Welcome to episode 11 of Nexus Now, a Nexus Gaming series podcast bringing you news, stories, and personalities from the NGS community as well as the greater Heroes of the Storm universe. Joining me today are Jaxster and Murda. How do you guys like my new extra announcer voice?
I'm personally terrified.
Are you coming to the game? Are you going to be like the next announcer pack in the game?
Oh, that'd be beautiful. I would love that so much. Enemy slain. Welcome to the Nexus.
Give us your best. Give us your best. Let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get ready to rumble.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
Right. It's pretty good. Did you ever play? I think it was called Ready to Rumble Boxing. It was like on Sega Dreamcast.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
maybe
I did.
PlayStation. Oh my god, that game was so much fun.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Unfortunately, that phrase is trademarked and you can't use it anywhere serious.
Oh, I'll have to go back and bleep it out in the editing.
He's like the MGM owns it or something. What's that guy's name?
I
He's a
forget.
legend.
I used to know it, and that's like his big thing that he can do that.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Well, we're already off the rails.
Lost a keep.
We're
Ghost, tell the
Hero of
listeners
the
what we got
Storm!
on the
Sorry.
table of contents for today.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, you guys introduce yourselves. Jaxster, how you doing?
I am Jaxster 37, not to be confused with Jaxster 36 or Jaxster 38.
bastard.
Those guys are both assholes. I am the good guy.
The only one. And actually, you know what? Jaxster 37 reminds me, I'm now 37. So welcome to that. Yeah.
You get to be Ghostdunk 37.
I know, right? And Murda, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine. It's been a fun start of the new year, 2019. It's already February. What the heck?
Yeah.
You guys know me as Murda, aka Murda RG, not to be confused with Murda PG or Murda LG. But yeah.
Yeah, Murda's
What's
rated
going on, guys?
RG. Anyways, we're gonna
Chirp, chirp, cricket, cricket.
This is like the worst intro we've ever had in terms of just getting completely off the rails.
worst
What is
or
this?
best.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. I'm
Yeah.
having fun.
But yeah, it's February, and we're going to talk about our feelings since see if any of them have changed since we last spoke, which was December 22nd. So we're coming down off our HOTS hangover, Christmas time, New Year's, and I'm in Chicago, so I had to suffer through a polar vortex. We're going to also look at Imperius. We're going to look at the balance changes, so many balance changes, and we're going to take a look at NGS, Heroes Lounge, and the greater amateur heroes scene. So yeah, let's get right into update on where we are. Looks like we're gonna see if any of your guys' initial feelings, any of your expectations have changed. Murda, we'll start with you. You know, how you feeling about the game compared to how you felt 2 months ago?
Well, I mean, overall, looking at the game as a whole with the development cycle and, the announcement that it would be slowed down, I've actually been somewhat positive about what I've seen with the big, giant balance patch. We got a lot of changes in there. And then just this past week, hearing that there's going to be big changes coming to Abathur and some also pretty big changes coming to one of our fellow hosts here, Jaxster, Anna, getting some changes as well, and we're gonna definitely want to hear your thoughts on that later on in the episode.
I thought you were gonna
but I'm
tell
really
me.
excited.
I thought you were gonna tell me Jaxster got buffed.
No, just Anna.
Okay.
Just Anna, not Jax. But back to my point, I'm very excited with what I've seen so far with what's come out in the past couple of weeks in terms of those two patches.
Yeah, I'm really excited. All of the patch notes were not like the patch itself was all the three of them we'll go over. Bit of a mixed bag in my opinion, but the overall thing that I have seen over the past month and a half that I've just been blown away by is the sheer amount of support from the Heroes community fan base in saying that whether it be the Heroes Invitational, the Hallows Eve tournament, NGS, Heroes Lounge, it's just the amount of support from the community base has just been overwhelming, and I frankly didn't see it coming. I mean, his Heroes Lounge has raised over $15,000 already. That's just an astounding amount. And
Mhm.
I look forward to being able to see Division S, and we'll get into it later. But that's honestly what gives me the most optimism nowadays, is just the sheer willpower
Yeah.
of the community fan base to
Yeah.
keep this game going up and up.
I agree for the most part. I will say, from my perspective, it's pretty much panned out exactly the way that I expected, and that's not to be negative or necessarily overly positive. But we did see a lot of pros that have left, and you have to admit, like, you see Crowan, playing League of Legends. You see a lot of people trying Dota. Dota chess is now the new rage. Michael Udall is kind of stepping back from being a streamer, and he's going to start getting a job in Utah, stuff like that. But Crowan, even though he's trying to do League of Legends, he's still playing HOTS. Dreadnought came back and he's streaming, baby. He's out there and he's still playing Heroes of the Storm.
Got a gig casting Rocket League, I believe.
Yeah, got a gig casting Rocket League yet again, but he's still playing this video game. And I think a lot of people, like, you look at the Gladman and Toasty Invitational. I'm very excited for that. You look at Div S, Team Feed'em decided to drop out, but somebody like Collusion, Team Feed'em dropped out, and Collusion's like, wait, I want to still play. I want to still play in another tournament. Got together a whole bunch of people, and they won. They won the first tournament, which we'll get to later on in the show. But what we're seeing is that even though people may not be professionally playing this, we are seeing a ton of support from the community. Amateur leagues are sort of off the charts. Everybody's working on them. Everybody's working hard to get the amateur scene out. And you're seeing top players playing the game for fun, because the game is still fun.
Well said.
Well said. Yeah, really well said.
But yeah,
And so, you can
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if we're moving on to match quality, how has that changed? How's the QM and rank changes that they implemented that we talked about last month, or a month and a half ago? How has that changed? Ghost, you said last pod, you gave us a little bit of a sneak peek spoiler. You had some stats. Can we take a look at those stats?
We can't take a look at them quite yet.
Okay.
We've got one more week to go, because Hotslogs, sends out a database dump of like the last month of games, but it's not the last month of games. They're always a month behind. So I have to. The last data dump I got was from I believe it was November. It was October 12th through November 12th, and then I have November 12th through December 12th, and that was all before the big XP changes and before everything else kind of fell out. And then now I'm waiting for, January 12th, December 12th through January 12th, which is the big changes. And so that's going to be out in a week. But I can tell you, and look forward to the article, because I believe Cavalier Guest is writing it. But yeah, it's going to be more about the quality of change, of quality of matchmaking, the quality of games, and whether the XP changes have affected that, and maybe whether the announcement, the Apocalypse announcement, has changed anything else. So yeah, I don't have stats on that, but I will say, from the stats I do have, the game seemed pretty fair beforehand, but we saw a lot of 4-level, 3-level leads. So the problem that people were complaining out was real. The fact that there were too many lopsided games.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think anybody would have contested that 3 to 4 level leads happened a lot. I think a lot of people were contesting whether or not that was a good thing. Like, if you have killed the enemy team 20 times and taken all their structures, you should have a 4 level lead. I think Blizzard agreed to that to a certain extent, but said hey, we need to at least give them, maybe in the mid game when they're only down 10 kills and only a couple structures, maybe give them a little bit of an incentive to be able to get back into the game. And I think that's what the XP changes did. So I'm going to take the unpopular opinion that I actually really like the XP changes. I feel like it reduces snowballing, so you can't just take triple fort off of the first web weaver push, for example, or first objective in general. But the passive XP changes from the forts are actually a pretty good change, and they reward you nonetheless. So if if you can get an early fort, it will give you quite a lot of XP. The separation you'll see as the game progresses gets gradually larger. So I think the changes, A, I don't think they did too much, but B, I think it kind of did work. I don't see as many 4-level lead games anymore. I still see like 3 if I'm really stomping the enemy team, but it's mostly a lot fairer, and I think that's a fine thing. I think if you are up 20 kills to 0 and you're only up like 2 levels now, like you should still win. Like if you don't, it's not like you're one team fight away from losing. You should still win that game. You have to essentially throw to have your lead get cut away. So I think it's a fine change.
I disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I
actually.
agree. You disagree. Well,
Yeah.
let me say
Yeah,
I agree for the reasons that like I've been watching and getting to cast some high level games. I did some Heroes type amateur series. I casted some Division S qualifiers, and of those matches I've seen, there's been a lot of really close, even matches, and even late in games, you don't feel like the team's necessarily out of it. But I think at the same notion, I also don't feel like the team who's been ahead for most of the game is at some sort of disadvantage compared to what it used to be like. I think they still have all the same opportunity to win games when they should win the game.
I think ultimately, like having talked to people and having experienced some of the changes myself, having practiced some of the more degenerate strategies myself, I think the problem is that it seems inconsistent. Like it doesn't seem the games doesn't seem quite the same anymore as far as controlling XP goes. Yeah, if you get a very early fort, you can start to build a really good passive XP lead. But if the other team plays well, they can just soak their lanes a little bit easier, and they're going to get minion soak to make up for it. And what you're seeing is, like I had a game. It was in Team League, and it was against a coordinated team, and we were up like 20 kills to 3, and we kind of threw in the late game a little bit, but not a whole lot, and it was still like we were both on level 20, and they never really had like that 3-level lead. We never really had that advantage that you would see in the older game, and so it seems like it really does seem like taking a fort is kind of useless. At the moment, like you can get some advantage from it if you've got a really strong push comp. If you got a Sylvanas, like really just rush forts, it can work out in your favor. But it does feel like it makes the fort structure useless in the game.
Let me try and play devil's advocate. I'm not disagreeing too hard because I see your points, and I can see how like we were talking about on 2 pods ago, where you can really just stall that wave out. But so say the passive XP bonus is kind of offset by the minion XP, which I actually have noticed. If my team is ahead like 10,000 passive XP, the enemy team is probably going to be ahead, 6,000-7,000 minion XP because the waves are pushing to their side and you can't really. So on every map except for Tomb, I think this is fine because obviously on Tomb you don't get gems, which is really kind of a poor map design. I really don't like that map. But other than that, I think it's fine to kind of offset that because even say it's a perfect 1-to-1. So for every passive XP lead that you gain, they get it through minions. Mm-hmm. Your team still has an advantage because that fort is off the map, means that your essential safety zone is much bigger and the enemy safety zone is much smaller. It gives you more room to work in the map. I think it's still an advantage to take a fort early.
I don't know. I would disagree because you don't really need that area anymore. Like your safety zone is bigger, but what are you doing out there? And it actually, once you're closer to your keep, if you move somebody up there to get minion soak, like they're in danger of being ganked. So if you take a fort and you push all the way up to get soak, you can't really get that. So that is what causes that differential. And you don't need to push the wave out. You can freeze the wave at your keep and still get the XP there.
I understand. I'm talking about in terms of like objectives. So say like on All Track Pass, like you take middle fort with first objective, and then second objective pops. Well, the defensive team, the team who has lost the fort, no longer has that fort to fall back on. Or say it's like top, they lose top and mid, and objective spawns top. Now they don't have any wells. They don't really have any defensive area that they can back up to. If I'm a support, if I'm an Ana, like I have to play really safe, because if the enemy team has like a Genji, I can't just fall under my fort now because it's gone, and it makes it that much riskier. So yeah, you can soak XP safe, fine, but you're never going to be able to really contest an objective. And I think that's much more important than the minute like amounts of XP that you're going to be losing.
Well, the problem is that I think with Alterac Pass, it hasn't been really looked at by pros because it wasn't going to be in the HGC in 2019. So if you look at all the other 3-lane maps, like Cursed Hollow, it's like, it doesn't matter. If you get a fort and then like it takes a long time to get that second curse, and by the second curse, like the other team can come back. And like Infernal Shrines and Battlefield of Eternity, like not even Battlefield, just Infernal Shrines, the objective changes. Dragonshire, you only have one Dragon Knight pushing on a lane. And I think the issue is if you're ahead, like the degenerate strategy came from going to a 16 power spike. So it kind of makes the early game not matter quite as much as far as like high level Heroes of the Storm is concerned. So it's like, oh, we lost the fort, that's fine, we'll just soak, we're gonna get the same amount of XP, we're gonna hit 16. We've drafted for a 16 power spike, so now we win the team fights at the next objective.
Yeah, that's fair, and we will see how it pans out in NGS Season 6 and Division S.
Nice.
Moving on, do we want to go game mode by game mode in terms of how we feel about the match quality now that the whole apocalypse has happened, or do we just want to give our like general feelings, like how we generally think the games play right now?
Sure, absolutely.
Murda, do you want to start?
I think my matchmaking honestly has been fine. I haven't seen too many like completely mismanaged comps on each side by the matchmaking handler.
You're talking QM?
Yeah, for like quick match. It's been fine. I think my team league it's still the same, where people are placed all over the place. People who have migrated from Hero League jumping into that team league queue have sent it for a whirlwind, and I think it's going to take a lot of time for that to balance out. So I'm still optimistic there, and I think it will improve over time, but right now it is kind of the Wild West in Team League.
So you are still hoping for the Team League, Hero League ranked changes where they consolidate the leagues? I mean, we didn't really touch on it too much, but I mean, how do you think they reconcile that?
I think Team League is going to normalize over time, as would any matchmaking rating, but as for them joining together, I don't know how they would implement it, and depending on what they want to go with, I think would determine the outcome of how that's going to work out.
Okay, Ghost.
Yeah,
how are you feeling?
I'm feeling like AI still pretty good, about the same.
Which is to say, not great, not great. It'd be very
still
charitable
good for
description.
Still good for leveling your Smurf up. I think, I'm excited about that Rock and Roll Racer Brawl, baby. And then I think unranked draft and quick match, the matchmaking is pretty much the same as it used to be. The quick match role division thing seems to have been a failure, unfortunately, but, it just leaves us with what we had before. So whatever, it's quick match,
Yeah, that was the big bummer about it. It was like we will remember in like 30 years there was that glorious 3-week period where QM was actually playable, and like every team had a tank, every team had a support and a ranged assassin.
Yeah, it's such a catch-22, because they switched it and then it's like, well, now you have to wait. It's not quick match anymore. Yeah. It's wait match. And
can I make the counter argument of yes, I think it is a bit of a problem with champion selection oh my god, I'm starting to talk like League.
Go home, you're drunk.
I think it is a little bit like people don't want to play splits, people don't want to play tanks. Okay, but I think the matchmaker, there is a fundamental problem in some part of it is bugged out in that sometimes you will get games without ranged assassins. Okay, that is a problem. There is no excuse for getting a game without a ranged assassin. You cannot tell me with a straight face that there is not a Zagara or an Asmo main that is queued up that will fill that role. Okay, there is no excuse that I should have no ranged assassin on the team. That absolutely none. So I think there are solutions that they can implement to at least alleviate some of these problems. And I would wonder if that extends to supports and tanks as well, because a lot of times you will get triple tank in QM, and that is the most frustrating thing in the world. Even if it's like Artanis, Diva, Imperius, which we'll talk about whether he's a tank or a bruiser later on. It would be much better to spread those out to other games that don't have even a bruiser. So I still think there is work to be done. I don't know if I'm particularly optimistic in that they will implement it, but there is still work to be done, and we'll see.
It's tough. Unranked draft, I would say my matchmaking has been the same. Hero League is, as Solid Jake would say, booty butt cheeks. It is.
Yeah, that is.
It lasts forever.
It is a shame. The only thing you need to know is that I'm a master player, and I waited in a queue for 75 minutes earlier today.
Yeah,
and Tuesday afternoon. You know.
Yeah, I wanted to try and start climbing Hero League, but it's like I'm not waiting. Yeah, I don't have a 75-minute queue. I have about 6 or 7 minutes. I'm like, no, I don't want to wait that long to get a game. Team League, instant queues, but the matchmaking still seems like the Wild West. It feels like Team League is
paradise.
Yeah, Team League is still sorting out where everybody is, and a lot of people that aren't even Smurfs, but they never played Team League, and so they get on, and it's like, well, you're Plat 3 Grandmaster. So it does seem a little weird.
That's the point I was making too. I feel the same way.
I got place gold too, before this all happened, and I had to climb up to Diamond 5, and then I just gave up as soon as the Smurfing started. I was just, screw this, I'll just go play QM, and I'll just play Imperius and have fun. That's kind of where I'm at. A thought occurred to me the other day, Ghost, and I don't know how much you want to dive into it or your own personal feelings on it, but
sure.
I wanted to probe your brain about. So you went to the dinner, the charity dinner, which we talked about, and you talked to KO, I believe, and you talked to him, and you told him that QM was, in your opinion, the biggest impediment to the game's success.
Yes.
I mean, how do you feel with these rollback changes to essentially they've not only failed and not stuck to their guns in terms of improving match quality, but they might have even made it slightly worse in terms of now teams can maybe not be mirrored in terms of supports, one team can have a support and one can't. I mean, what are the thoughts going through your head?
I think it's the same. I think it's the same as it used to be, and it's always been a problem. It's always been, well, you can get this quick match draft, but maybe we're not going to give you anybody with wave clear, and so good luck winning that game. How do you
feel? Yeah. How do you feel that they are feeling, the developers? Do you think this is?
I think it's their catch-22. I think it's they want to have their quick match. They are tied to this idea of I want to pick a hero and just play them, and I think you can't have a good outcome with that goal in mind. Not with the player base that we have. Because not enough people are going to play tanks. And if you want something with a real composition, not enough people are playing the right roles to have the queues be quick and feel nice and fresh. But if the queues feel nice and fresh, sometimes you get games that you will just lose. And if you're having fun with the game, yeah, that'll happen. But, it was an impediment to the game's success because it drove away new players.
Yeah. I just have to wonder what they're thinking in terms of it really feels like if I was on the dev team, I would feel like I failed essentially. I failed in my mission to create a more balanced mode.
Like, I don't want to I don't want to be like, oh, other games are better, but I think it can, if what I would love to see is I want to see some devs really, like the ones that are left on this project, I want to see them really take ownership. I want to see them like really get into the community and make some of the smaller voices in the community more heard, and like really make the dev team a lot closer to the audience, because I think it's more of an intimate community at this point, and I think it should be like, we need to have a franker dialogue with the team right now, even for the small changes that we might get.
Moving on though, Imperius. Let's dive in. Let's see. Murda, what's your opinions on him? What do you feel? Is he a tank? Is he a bruiser? And how good is he? And how much should we be banning him?
Well, I do think he is a bruiser. I do not think he is what you're gonna want to select, at least currently, in your offlane position. I think he's gonna really fit in if you can bring him somehow into your 4-man, use him as a melee hero in your 4-man along with your tank to help with engagements and set up a hyper carry, something like a Jaina with a Blizzard that can stack up and get a lot of damage out every time you spike and combo with your tank. I think he has a lot more utility in that sort of role than being split out by himself.
Ghost, do you agree?
I actually completely disagree.
Oh man, let's go.
I think he holds a position not like Arthas, but he's capable of offlaning. He's capable of tanking, and he's capable of doing a decent amount of damage. So he can pretty much go into all of those spots. Although I think if you're going to bring him in the 4-man as a source of melee DPS, you have a lot better choices. You've got Illidan, you've got Maiev, you've got it's escaping me right now. Kerrigan, but you have better choices there for DPS. But I mean, in a pinch, I guess you could do it. I don't think he's, especially with his ultimate, he can really burst somebody down. But I think he works well as a tank. He does everything a tank needs to do. He can peel with his stab. It's a little rough, but there are a lot of tanks that have rough don't have the greatest peel. He's got an engage. He has he can ward. He has a little bit of mobility with his Q, and he can escape. Not so well as someone like Johanna, and so it'd be a little rougher for him to be a full tank. But Imperius just wants to go hard, and I think that works out for him. And in offlane, he can bully a lot of people. In the offlane, his only big problem in the offlane is he doesn't have wave clear, so you can't really take him anywhere where wave clear is going to matter. He'll get some wave clear at level 7, or is it 4? I think it's 7. Yeah,
7.
Yeah, at 7 he'll get wave clear, but until then, like if you're up against somebody like a Blaze, Blaze doesn't care about Imperius. Blaze just clears the Wayne, and Imperius cries as they go in on his towers. But I think he can be pretty strong, and in a team fight, that extra CC is really good.
Okay, very very fair points from both. I am
right.
unfortunately
Judge Jaxster.
I am going to unfortunately have to disagree with both of you. So we're gonna have an old-fashioned Mexican standoff. I would like to direct your attention to the podcast channel, where I've linked an image of my match history as Imperius.
Uh-huh.
Imperius, folks, is busted. He is the best offlaner currently in the game. He has the best stun outside of ETC. He does the highest amount of damage out of every melee assassin in the game, maybe short of Greymane. And he is actually a god in QM. Not certain about pro play, but he is actually a god in QM. He wins pretty much every solo lane matchup except for, I think, a Nubarak, which is just a strange one that I ran into where a Nubarak can just shield it. But yeah, no, Imperius is incredibly overpowered, and I think people are taking the wrong talents on him, and it's really showing with his win rates and hot slogs. So that is my thesis. That's my case of the point.
All right.
I think
let's get into it.
fantastic.
Let's see.
Oh, he's only a bruiser. He's not a tank. Don't ever play him as a tank. I feel like he just doesn't have the survivability to stay alive as a tank. Yeah, even his E and even his like if you go the heal at 4, which you should, I don't think you're healing enough to stay alive. You're very susceptible to CC.
Okay, what's give us your big Imperius build then for pub stomping.
Okay. So you're essentially playing around the trait. Trait is the greatest thing about Imperius because it does so much damage and it lasts for so long. So let me pull this up on Heroes Fire. At level 1, you are going to want to go burn the Impure, which on release, they made one change and it turned him from being okay to actually god tier, and it was burn the Impure. So
I will agree with you on this. Yeah. This is the amazing number.
The greatest talent. Why? Okay, so here, just a hypothetical. You give a bruiser, a tanky bruiser with sustain, CC, high auto attack damage. You give a bruiser percent HP damage at level 1. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. Who goes into the solo lane nowadays? It's Blaze.
Oh, yeah.
It's Sonya. It's Dahaka. It's meaty tank frontlining people who are really easy to burn through. You will, if you land a combo, which is Q, E, W, and then auto, you will do about a third of a Sonya's health and take no damage whatsoever yourself. So you have to go burn the Impure. Don't even ignore all the other talents. Honestly, there's only one tier where talents actually, you can pick another one outside of Volts. At 4, always Battle Hunger. The heal is just too good. Don't go anything else. At 7, it's Holy Fervor. Not only does it increase your auto attack damage if you activate it, because those swipes do more damage than your regular autos. So it's more burst for you. It's about 700 with a full combo. It also gives you really good wave clear, like Ghost was talking about earlier. 10, it's going to be a controversial pick. I go Wrath of the Angiris, because it allows you to insta-pick any squishy on their team. You go against an Ana as Imperius, you cannot lose. Period. The other ult is okay. The shield is fine, but the damage is garbage because it gets hit by minions and summons in the way. So, like, maybe if you're going like a tank Imperius, like, you can go the other ult, but you want to get the picks, and that's why I go Wrath. 13 is Divine Rage or Heat of Battle. If you're kind of getting focused, go Heat of Battle, but you want more E's because E is the longest cooldown in your kit, so if you can get that more often, then better. 16 is Melting Touch, so consuming a Molten Armor mark reduces the target's armor by 25%. So essentially, someone dives you. Now you don't even have to land your stun. Someone dives you, you press E, you start consuming marks on them, and you're doing bonus damage for their health, for their HP, and you are applying a vulnerable, like what, for 4 seconds that your teammates can like capitalize on, and then you combo them.
Yeah, I mean, you use Wrath of the Angiris into E. Like, now they're in your team and they've got vulnerable.
Absolutely. And then, boom, Closet OP talent. I don't know why they put this on him. Valorous Pursuit. The teleport at 20.
Yep.
The greatest high level. If we ever saw Imperius in like HGC, this would be an insta-pick talent, and it would be so great. I don't even care about the armor. So brands last for 10 seconds. So what you can do is combo them. Hit them with Q, your W, your E, mark them, and then let the last mark from your E stay on them. Wait 8 seconds for your combos, all of your abilities to be back up, insta-teleport to them, and hit them with another combo. You can burst down any tank, assassin, support, Abathur in the game, just completely 100 to 0 them, and Wrath is just the icing on top.
Yeah,
I have a 80% win rate with Imperius over 30 games, and an MVP ratio of about 50%.
It's very strong.
Drop the mic, Jax.
Yeah.
Drop the mic.
I cannot remember the last game where I was out damaged. Like, there are games where I have 3 ranged assassins on my team and I out damaged them all, sometimes combined. It is absolutely crazy.
Right.
I topped 100k damage like right before. And this isn't just bragging. I think anybody can do this with Imperius. He's not a necessarily hard hero to play. Like, as long as you can hit the Q, everything else about his kit is like brain dead easy. And I think he is so overpowered. And I'm going to tell anybody who plays against the UCF Death Knights in Division S, I'm going to force my offlaner to play him as much as possible. And if he cannot learn him, he is going to be playing support, and I'm going to be playing offlaner. And I challenge anybody on any sport other than Malthael to beat me in a 1v1.
Well, we might have to make that happen.
So that is the theory of the case for Imperius. I am thirsty now. Break apart my argument. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why my wins don't mean anything.
All right, Murda, do you have anything?
I think we're good.
Yeah, no,
like we can kind of roll this into looking at the patch notes where he was released and what came along with that too.
I do want to point out though, I did have an ancillary comment. Like, I agree. I think that's a great build. I think it's a great offlane build. I don't know if it's good enough to be part of the 4-man on against a coordinated team, because Imperius can be bursted down. His stun
He is
his
best
stun
in the
is a
1v1.
self-root.
Yeah, he is best in the 1v1. He can 1v1 any hero in the game. He can actually 1v2 pretty much anybody in the entire game. He is susceptible to CC. But I think the main thing is, and I'm looking at hot slogs right now, and he's all the way, near the bottom. He's actually rising recently. But he's towards the bottom because people are still taking bad talent, okay? Why is Holy Fervor only at a 47% pick rate, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Blades of Glory does nothing. Holy Fervor does more bonus damage right off the bat. Why is Burn the Imperial only have a 46% pick rate? It just boggles my mind. Yeah, you can make a case for the ults. You can make a case for the different E-talents at 13. But, it boggles my mind.
I'll say this. I've been definitely a convert Blaze. I used to pick Blaze of Glory. I don't like it anymore. There is a tank build, and it's basically Q focused.
Yes, I saw that, and I saw it actually work really well with ETC. So Blaze in the ETC Imperius in the format, essentially, if Imperius lands to stun on anybody, then they are dead. If they don't have a cleanse, they're just dead, which is fine. But then you're kind of saying, like, if it's not on like Tomb, where it doesn't really matter about who is the solo lane, like, then you're going to be going like essentially three Bruisers, 1 tank and 2 Bruisers, and like you really don't have that much damage for team fights late game, like what we were talking about earlier, Ghost, where you're just wait until 16 and you can win by then. So I think his value early game by just getting picks kind of falls off, and you can just play safe around him. I don't think I'll ever die to an Imperius ETC combo ever again, because I'll know it coming and I'll just clear the waves. Yeah. So no, I think that's a viable. I think it's borderline viable to play him as a tank, but you need crazy supporting capabilities, or else he's just not going to be doing anything.
Yeah, I agree, and I think as well. Like, I agree, Imperius is strong, but in the off lane, I don't know that he auto beats so many heroes, just because.
Ghost, trust me. I have played him 30 games in a row.
I know, but you've been playing like in like QM, and I think against a coordinated team, Q and W are skill shots, and skill shots means they skill shots mean that the matchup is skill based. So like, you go up against a Leoric, like, well, if I can dodge his spooky hand, I win.
You don't even need to dodge his spooky hand. Essentially, at one,
that's just in general, as playing as Leoric. If I don't hit my W in Leoric, then I lose.
Yeah, I think as soon as Imperius gets 4 and he gets the sustain of Battle Hunger, he becomes a god, and you'll never kill him. He is a mana. I will say that he is really mana hungry. If you just use your abilities on cooldown, and he doesn't have wave clear, and his E works really funky, where it's better to just hit one target with it. But I think if you learn the Imperius, I'm trying to beat it into my offlaner. If you learn the Imperius, he is so good. He is so rewarding to play.
We're gonna have to see a supplemental to this episode of some of your gameplay footage.
Honestly, we should upload on because we're uploading to YouTube. We should upload a supplemental where Ghost and I just 1v1 on like ARAM, Imperius versus like anything but Malthael, and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Sounds good. I'll probably try Leoric first. Good.
Moving on. I'd take that matchup. Moving on, because Murda is going to start raging at us soon. Murda, why don't you walk us through the patch notes, starting off with the January 8th.
Yeah, I mean, this was so long ago.
It wasn't. January 8th wasn't a huge one.
Sure, it wasn't huge, but I'll briefly touch on it. Obviously, we talked about Imperius Abathur. I'm not going to talk about because of the recent changes on PTR, which we'll get to. Arthas, a little bit of a change. I mean, he's just not going to disable summons with the Syndragosa, and you know,
What?
I think it's more niche and maybe lends credence that they're thinking about adding more summons to the game eventually, which I thought was not the case. So maybe there's some hidden text in there we don't know yet. And then Diablo Soul Shield is gonna work better, more dynamic. That's it. So really not too much in that.
Johanna announcer.
Oh,
We finally got
yeah.
it. It only took us like 2 years, but we got Johanna announcer. That was an insta buy by me.
Nice.
Still my most played hero. I don't know
Mine
how.
as well. Mine as well.
I-
Level 70 with her.
Yeah, I guess she just fits in so many games that it's like I guess I play Johanna.
Okay, walk us through the big one, January 23rd.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know how much walking through we're gonna be able to do, but we can stop.
I can
at certain
TLDR
points.
this for you if you want.
Okay, yeah, give us that.
They buffed underpicked talents. And
That was
Yeah,
pro.
and you know, before in this pod I was talking about how the devs impressed me with this patch, and I think a lot of it has to do with how many different things they touched and said, hey, in the past we were willing to go slow with things, but now it appears to me at least that they're ready to just rip some band-aids off quickly and make a lot of changes to figure out how to balance some heroes that haven't been in the meta for some time.
Okay, how about instead of going through all of the notes, we go and see where we think that maybe them buffing or nerfing certain talents makes the other choice more viable. How about that?
yeah.
So I don't think anything Gul'dan or Illidan changes. Maybe meta's a little bit more viable. But Jaina, do you think 7? So everybody picks Pierce on Q, and they nerfed Frostbolt without nerfing Blizzard. Do you think that one of those two talents becomes more viable nowadays? I've always liked Ice Fury Wand to be perfectly honest. So this will just make me insta-lock it even more.
I think the cooldown reduction could be a big deal. Ice Fury Wand could be good. Ice Flows was always like a theory pick, but I don't think you'll ever, that puts you in way too much danger to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and at 16, you always went the route anyways. Like,
yeah,
the armor reduction was pretty. Rocket Ride, do you guys like it more? I don't.
No.
Bye, but worse.
I don't, but I think at level 20, it's always been the big cannonballs, right? What it's called?
Yeah, Cannonball. It is just Cannonball.
Cannonball. I think that's probably still the pick. I mean, even if you're going Rocket Ride, like the upgrade there, like, is it? I don't even think it's attractive. I don't know. I don't like it. Boom Pow, I still think is it's too difficult in a lot of cases, and you put yourself at so much risk when you're playing that concussion mine build
because you don't have it for yourself,
right? And Junkrat's so squishy as is, like it's just a much more dangerous build to play. So I still think Cannonball at level 20. But I don't know, maybe people want to experiment and have some fun with it.
Yeah. Nothing on Kerrigan changed, I don't think. Now, Lee, we can move on because it is a little bit dumb. But
yeah,
I haven't tested it, but Aether Walker might be good. So I'm going to take credit for if it becomes meta in like a month. This is like a penny stock kind of thing. Like I give it like a 1% chance that Aether Walker actually becomes really good, but I'm going to be running it a couple games to see if I like it. Don't know if it's better than Power Hungry, but that's more substantial than you might think. So, moving on. Maev, I don't think anything changes from there. So is Durance of Hate.
Durance of Hate was already good, so now it's better.
It was already good. I still like Consume Souls because you press R at 20 and you win the game, but
yeah.
To each their own. I don't think anything changes on Nova.
I think rapid projection makes the old school Nova build a little bit more viable now.
You still just go Bribe though. Like Bribe is the only good talent.
What you used to see was it's a one in the chamber focused build. And you get the double pinning shot, and you use your hollow clone to proc your one in the chamber. We saw this a lot. We saw this last in professional play by Faye on Towers of Doom.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the biggest question in this patch is, does Void Slash make Zeratul still an insta pick?
No.
The nerf.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, and
at pro
shadow
level,
mending as well.
At-
Look at shadow mending also getting nerfed. So that's a combination of both of those, which when you're playing Zeratul, you're playing a Q build Zeratul. I don't think people go anything else in a competitive sense.
Nope.
Are we talking?
So having those are the two premier talents at 16 and 20,
Yep.
both getting nerfed. Zeratul took a big hit.
Yeah, are we talking pro build or pro scene, Division S, or just my hero league? So we're talking like Division S. I don't think he was insta-lock. I think he was good, but he was kind of a worthless hero until 7. Then he became less worthless when at 10, and then at 16 he became a god, and at 20 he actually became all of the gods in one.
Yeah. I disagree. I think right now Zeratul is like first ban, first pick in Division S.
Yeah, he's certainly still being picked, but he definitely took a hit, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
I agree.
Substantial.
It's a substantial hit, but I don't think it makes him like any less valuable. Void Prison is still the second best team fighting ultimate in the game. Yeah, he's just such a good character. I think we'll get to the Abathur changes in a bit, but I think that bumps Zeratul up to like. I think Zeratul is still at the top of the heap right now.
Yeah, no.
Gazlo, whatever.
Gazlo. Oh, you're gonna upset BMed if you just brush over Gazlo like that. I'm gonna say,
yeah, we got Gazlo, Vikings, Murky. Look at all these.
Okay, a pro Gazlo player like BMed, they don't care about the cooldown on Gravel Bomb because they get scrapped efficiently.
Okay, fine. Just ruin my parade. Ghost is being mean.
That was.
I'm gonna get BMed
How about this with Vikings? You guys think we're going to see a little bit more of a triple stack Viking ever happen now that the Norse Force at level 7 has a little bit more of a buff?
Has Vikings ever been buffed or like changed in any way since like
release?
I can check actually.
I think
HeroesPatchNotes.com should have it all.
Yeah, I think they got changed once when the the ammo changes happened, and then like never again. So this was a bit strange. I honestly don't know. Don't play Lost Vikings. How about that? Can we just say that and move on?
Let's see. Lost Vikings. Let's see. There's 1.
Yeah, they changed it to Sabotage.
Yeah, they changed it to Sabotage in 2017 in December, and then before that, the last big change was in 2016 in the summer.
Yikes!
And then everything else has been bug fixes. For that, yeah.
Can we just like pretend they don't exist and move on? Like it's a lot easier that way.
I mean, maybe you can, but
like the people who are gonna play Vikings are gonna play Vikings regardless. Like none of this really matters. Like it's like if Vikings can still get 3 lanes of soak, like they're still really good if you know how to play them. But please don't play Vikings.
Yeah,
Murky is murky.
Doesn't matter.
Zagara. This actually pissed me off. Can we talk about this a little bit? I'm trying. Again, it's gonna stay positive, but like just 30 seconds of salt. Okay, this talent was completely for 2 years because it was impossible to finish. It's the hardest thing in the world to hit people with your E as Zagara, and so the quest you were never gonna finish it to begin with. You only picked it for the damage, and so they take away the damage and they make it just like easier. And now like 1 roach is like what?
Yeah.
I'm done. Yeah.
So you're gonna have 3 roaches now.
I'm sorry, Jax. I can't share your hatred of Zagara.
I mean, so you're look at it like this. You have a 20% increase in radius, which when you look at like actual area,
is
a 20% radius increase is a lot more area than 20%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
Isn't that how it works? Because it's pi r squared.
You're trying to confuse me with math. I'm a poli-sci major. Zagara is still a freaking meme. Okay, guys, we're moving on. Nobody takes Bile Drop anyway, so it's like,
But then you also get a 50% increase on the amount of roaches coming out.
You know, you used to be able. There was a talent before pre-rework Zagara that you could just get an extra roach for free. I think it was baked into like the talent where it does less damage. It takes less damage from like structures, and nobody picked it then either. So counterpoint. Alex Straza. I think this makes W build even better. People flamed me for like taking W build over Q build. I don't know. I always hated Q build, so this just makes W build even better, to be honest. And I really like it.
Yep.
Deckard. Oh boy. This is actually a really good buff because of healing potion heal buff, and I'm starting to play Deckard again, and I'm really liking him. Not as much as like pre every nerf, but I really like it. None of these talents really change anything. Super healing potion is a lot now. It is like 1,200, but if you are a good Deckard, you're landing your heals, so you're not getting any value out of it anyway. So,
and they also did have a bug fix for Deckard that I saw. His scroll of spell power, whatever that's at level 1, is working properly now.
Yeah,
I don't take that talent. Don't take that talent. Sapphire, take Sapphire.
Well, it does increase. It does increase the amount you're.
It does. So like you can turn that 1,200 into like 1,400, but why do that when you can kill their entire enemy team with Sapphire? Karazim, just change the life, change quality of life. Nerf Lily cause lols. Nerf Morales cause lols. Nerf Malfurion cause lols. Anubrak is the only thing that got a dev comment. Oh, and Chen. Get to Chen.
I actually like Anubarak's Beetle build now. It allows him to push a lane really hard.
I played against it last night.
It's really
I played
annoying.
against it last night on gosh, what map was that? I think it might have been Towers of Doom, and it's really strong up against 3 or more melee heroes because you get so much value in those fights. But yeah, I think it certainly helps, and maybe the Beetles now are almost usable.
Yeah, I think you get it. When you get those automatic beetles spawning at level 1, you just push a lane like a crap load if someone leaves you alone. Not leaves you alone, but if you're up against another hero that doesn't have a lot of wave clear, like you're going to be pushing on their towers.
Like Imperius.
Yeah.
That is one of the few matchups that I really had a struggle in because. So what Anubrak does is he can shield every time you try and hit your brand mark, so it completely mitigates that, and he pops out beetles, so your E does like half damage because the E pops to the beetle instead of that. So that is actually like a sleeper counter to it. I actually had a really tough time, and the CC is good as well. I think Anubrak is like still really good. His auto attack damage, I'm glad they nerfed that again.
Yep.
Artanis moving more closer to maybe making sense.
None of that does anything. You'll have to swap up more often, but you land the swap, you land the swap.
Parry, getting the extra armor. I mean, 75% is a ton.
Not amateur opponent, so it doesn't matter.
The cooldown reduction on Phase Prism means you get more swaps.
You don't take that talent.
It's not a talent. It's just a straight up cooldown.
It's just base. So they buff both. Okay.
Yeah. Base ability.
It makes it so that you can spam your ability more often. Like, I don't know. If you're a good Artanis, you're hitting your abilities, but maybe if you're not so good at your swaps, then it's more. It's not as punishing.
Yeah.
So, no. That was a big thing. Is like his combo costs like 110 mana, so if you missed it, like you were really kind of screwed. Whereas like a Stitches hook only costs like 50 mana, so no, good change. Fine. Blaze, no.
You should have been taking this anyway, and now it's even better.
It is pretty good. It's like sleeper good into certain comps. If you are going into a Kael'thas, if you are going into a Jain, if you are going into a Li Ming, it is good. But elsewise, the jet propulsion is still better. But no, that's a fine change. It'll make it more viable. Okay, do we want to do Chen or do we just want to ignore him?
I don't know.
Blizzard.
I didn't really play Chen before.
I haven't played Chen in probably 2 years, to be honest. So I think this makes him less survivable, but it makes him do more damage. So
yeah,
I don't know. Shrug emote.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe. I mean, he
didn't really touch like any of his barrel talents, which I thought was weird. Because that's always been the build I go with.
Donkey Kong. Yeah, I always went flying kick build. I just wanted to one-shot supports, and this kind of just makes it a lot easier, to be honest. So if I played him, I would probably be able to like just one-shot some Annas or whatnot, but I don't like him because of the trait mechanic and so much CC in the game. So, Garrosh, trying to make body check a thing. Lols. Double Up getting buffed. Double Up was actually a situational talent. Maybe it becomes a little bit more viable. You don't have to go Q anymore. Or as often. They really need to rework his kit because there's really no talent diversity at all. But that's for another day. Imperius. Boom. That
Yeah.
level 1, mark it, print it out, post it on your wall, kiss it every day. It is what's going to make him the greatest hero in Heroes of the Storm.
Beautiful.
Nothing else really matters though. Heat of Battle is pretty good buff, and Valorous Pursuit gets buffed. Now also provides 25 armor for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Lols.
Yeah.
So great. Try it out. Just try it out. You have to have vision on them, for instance, but there's no range. So as long as you have vision on them, what you can do, guys, mark an enemy, hearth to base, get health back, teleport back if you have vision on them. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. No, it's
Oof,
it's
I'm
real.
jacked. I'm jacked.
You're Jax.
Johanna falling butter knife is a little.
I'll never
Less
forgive
butter knife.
Blizzard for what they did to her. They took
Yeah.
away
It
her
is
damage
fun.
on Falling Sword.
It is fun though. Like
It is fun.
It's a
Oh,
very low cooldown, so you can
100%.
just rip it.
Especially
and
with the 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep.
But they took away her damage. It used to do twice as much damage, and they exchanged that damage for a slow, and I will never forgive them for it. Because why would Johanna want a slow on her ultimate when she has it in her base kit? It doesn't make any sense. So I used to be able to one-shot Morales with this talent, because what you would do is you would take the 20 talent, and you would essentially do 1,000 damage to Morales, and then you would just stick to her like glue and kill her eventually. And they took that away, and so angry for that.
Oh, it's
Oh,
it's getting a little closer. It used to be 365, and now it's 210.
50-second cooldown, though, is actually really
Yeah.
good. And the mana cost is substantial as well. But
Yep.
nothing else changed. Oh, actually, hold your ground. Shield bonus. That makes it even more viable compared to Laws of Hope, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we're almost at the end. Loyark, do you want to take this one, Ghost?
Yeah, Fealty Unto Death was already good. Now it's even better. Shroud of the Dead King, maybe okay, but both of his ultimate upgrades are so good.
Mm-hmm. I go that in QM when I'm getting bursted like really hard, but yeah.
But
It's
it's
a
hard
good
not to
cooldown.
be like if you went Mimi and like went full trait build because your opponent is bad, and then you
Yeah.
go March, and then you go March upgrade at level 20, and you get Drain Hope on everybody on the team, and you just keep doing it. Oh, so good.
And then rounding it out, Stitches. They're really just trying to buff his E build a little bit. But
Honestly,
I don't know. I've played the build, and I played it like old E build as well, and I don't. It's just so tough to really do much with it.
I have no idea how to play against Stitches in terms of like not that I don't know how to dodge hook or anything, but like I know essentially everybody's matchups in like the entire Heroes of the Storm. I don't know Stitches now because of all these new talents. I'll like look at I'll tab and go to the talent screen. It's just like that's a new talent. It's like what? It's like none of his talents make any sense to me. It's like he has a Q talent that gives him like 16% of his health back. Like he has a regen talent that doesn't have a cap now, but like it also has it's just so confusing. I just like he's impossible to kill, so I just ignore him and I just go for the back line. Like so it's just
Dodge hook, get good.
yeah.
Yeah. And that brings us to the next patch notes. That the PTR notes that hit now.
Okay.
Abathur.
Let's do Rhaegar and Whitemane first, and then we can move back to the rest.
All
Those are
right.
easy ones. Get
All
them
right.
out of the way. Okay, Rhaegar,
Okay,
Ancestral
Rhaegar.
Healing.
So
Thumbs up, right,
Everybody
guys?
celebrate.
yeah, this is a big thumbs up from everyone.
Okay, Whitemane gets her only viable build nerfed. Oh well. Oh well.
Didn't need to be nerfed, but whatever. I mean, she should have been buffed in other places because I agree that this is kind of a brain dead talent to have. Like you just
You
get
have to
free
take
mana
it.
all the time. Yeah, you have to take it and like just buff her elsewhere if you're gonna nerf this.
Oh well. Okay, so let's go for the Abathur. I'll save my rage for Anna. I'm not quite sure
Okay.
how all the Abba changes happen, but you guys take
The Abathur changes. Basically, they've given him a buff in QM pubs where people take monstrosity, split push, and put their hat on people to give damage. They've given a complete nerf to Abathur in competitive play because Abathur in competitive play was a support, as well as somebody who could soak, as well as somebody who could do ultimate evolution. He was too good. He was really good in competitive, and now they've completely nerfed his healing, and so that makes him no longer support, and it's no you're not going to see him be first ban, first pick like he is right now in Division S. You will still see him, I think, in hyper carry compositions, like your Illidan's or your Valas or your Zeratools or something like that. But he's not going to be the pick on every map kind of hero, and that is really sad because support Abathur was a lot of fun. I don't think it was too overbearing. Like, you could have nerfed it a little bit, but this is a huge nerf. They say, no, we don't want... They're basically, Blizzard saying we do not want Abathur taking this role at all. We want him to be a split pusher, or we want him to really enable like an Illidan or something like that, you know? So it's a sad day, I think.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at North America and what Abathur support meant to North America with one of our best teams, Heroes Hearth, last season in HGC, and watching how much it meant to that specific team for their strategy and moving forward, it definitely was something that had a huge impact on the high levels of play in Heroes of the Storm. And now with it gone, what's going to fill that void? I really don't think anything could ever take that style from what Abathur had. I don't think anything will ever replace it. So it's sort of a sad day and like a rest in peace right now to regenerative microbes, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, it's now, quote, baseline, but it's bad. It's not good.
Yeah, it's a lot less. But they did buff the how often you can proc the shield, which I know if you are a good Abathur, what you would do is you would swap a lot more. But so I think the heal amount is going to be like a third as much now. But honestly, I would have much rather them have just taken it away altogether and just said, like, we're going to give you a little bit of power elsewhere, because like it was kind of a dumb idea to have in the first place.
So I don't know what they're thinking, but like this is a rough time for competitive Abathurs. A lot of teams that were doing a lot of Abathur strategies are going to have to rethink all of it.
2 words though, ultimate evolution. Still a thing. So I mean, yeah, still going to be viable.
It's always viable in those situations, but it's going to be a lot more niche than it used to be. It's going to be like 2017.
Yep.
All right. Ana.
Oh, do you want to talk about Ana? I know Jax.
This is all you, Jax, baby.
So yeah, you got to take the floor on this one.
Okay, I'm calm. Let me take a drink. I'm calm. Okay, so start out with the positives, or at least my plea to Blizzard. I understand that you think it's frustrating that you have to finish the E talent at 1 for Ana to become a real character. That is frustrating. I will agree it's frustrating, because a lot of games, it is a lot harder to finish that quest baseline. Because, you know, you're going against teams that maybe they aren't the easiest team to hit with your dart. And you have to use it counterintuitively. You have to use it on CC that your team has already done. Instead of the E being the setup, you have to use it on guaranteed hits to get it done faster. I understand that. It is absolutely necessary, much like the white main High Inquisitor. It is absolutely vital to her kit, though, because why? Because it increases her heal amount by 2. It doubles her heal amount in the late game, which is so important. You've been continuously nerfing Ana's healing dart because of this, because of the ability to pierce. So you're able to, at late game, with Sharpshooter, which, by the way, they didn't touch, you know, that's probably more of a problem than pierce. It buffs her heal numbers to the point where you're having 800 heals go out on 2 people every 2 seconds, because good Ana players, which are the only players who play Ana anymore, are going to get a lot of value out of that. So I understand that you felt it was frustrating that E talent was baseline. Unfortunately for you, changing it to be on the trait is probably the single worst change you could have done. It is honestly worse than simply removing it, because if you remove it, then you can buff her in other places. You can give her a lot of that heal dart back. Say, like, we don't like the focus on Pierce, and we didn't feel comfortable giving it to her baseline. So we're just going to increase her healing dart from like 200, say, to like 300. And we're going to say it's much more important that you have clear line of sight on the healer, the hero that you need to hit. Now, maybe that would have made Ana a lot worse, but at least it would have been a viable change. This is actually so counterintuitive that it really tells me what we talked about earlier months ago when we first discussed Ana changes, in that Blizzard really has no idea what this character is all about, and I doubt that any player or any developer on the dev team has ever played her for more than 10 minutes at a somewhat competitive level. That's how blunt I am about this, because so now you get the ability to pierce baseline, but you have to cripple yourself in doing so. You have to make yourself essentially twice as vulnerable because of the slow. It's only 25%, but it is such a massive debuff, whereas before, a good Ana would be able to finish E-Quest at around the 10-minute mark, and you would be free to heal, from then on. This is so counterintuitive that it really makes me question like the dev choices from the dev team.
And one thing, and I'll credit Reddit. I don't know who on Reddit, but I read this morning about vampiric rounds at level 1 and how counterintuitive that can be as well. Because
never changed
the quest reads for you viewers at home, or listeners, I should say. Each time you stack max doses on a target hero, increase Shrike's self-heal by 1.5%. So you have to get the max dose stacks off in order to reapply it. So there's really no intuition to continue shooting someone with your auto attacks once they have max stacks, because you want them to drop off so you can max stack them again. So I would like to see, and this is what the Reddit thread was about, more of a way to I guess credit people who have duration of max stacks rather than just applying max stacks.
I think, yeah, it should be like once it hits max stacks, and then every second every
kind of like
2 seconds.
Caltrops on Vala. Yeah, no, that's a fine change, but it's kind of dancing around the issue, which is, why are you auto attacking as Ana? Again, this is a question like I have to ask the devs team. If I was at that dinner with Ghostdunk after the QM changes, we would be like, okay, so whose idea is it that Ana is supposed to auto attack people? Because I want to punch that person in the face. Why would you auto attack with Ana? So her auto attacks don't do anything. They're super weak. You have to get max dosage for them to like start to do damage. And if you are getting 5 stacks off of anybody except for the enemy tank, like either they are blind or you are massively out of position.
Maybe
she's a sniper. She's a long range sniper. And once you get that pierce, you want to be as far away from the fight as possible. You would take the talents at 4 and 7 that would apply doses on your dart, on your sleep dart, and the talent at 7 that would apply a spell debuff. You took those not because they were good talents, but because they were the only viable talents. They were the only talents that made any sense. All the rest were kind of garbage. And so maybe I can switch off of the ranting and go for some positives. I do love...
Well, there...
You want to interrupt my positive streak?
Actually, yeah, go with your positivity.
Okay.
Let's see that.
Aya Horus, I love this change. I think it is fantastic.
Okay, this is what I was gonna bring up. I really want your opinions on this, because we talk a lot about the piercing being baseline on your trait, but now you got piercing baseline on Aya Horus. And so my opinion, like if you get a nice little alleyway of a stacked up group of not only enemies but also allies, and you can hit all 9 of those heroes with one Eye of Horus, how much value is that?
Perfect. It is such a great change, and I didn't think about it. I'll be honest, I didn't think about this. I was trying to think of like, how do you make Eye of Horus viable? This is exactly how you do it. I didn't think they were going to do it. This is perfect, and the 20 upgrade is great as well. Increases the damage the more you hit. This is beautiful. I love it. It's not too punishing, but it honestly offers some choice between Nano Boost, whereas before it was just Nano Boost was an insta-lock. And now this is a 45-second cooldown, and if you don't have like someone who needs the Nano Boost, if you don't have a Li Ming, then this is clearly a viable choice. And also, think about the delays.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was
Chris.
just gonna say 3 interrupts. It's 8 shots, right?
Yeah, no, it's 6. They nerfed it.
Oh, 6 shots?
They nerfed it from... So they decreased the cooldown from 60 to 45. Yes, but it doesn't matter because it pierces. So like, this is like going to be the greatest delay talent in the world. You essentially.
How much?
So think about it.
How many seconds do
I didn't even
delays
think
take?
about that.
How many seconds
you
do
can't
caps
block
take?
IF4's delay.
5 seconds. It's got to take 5 seconds. So we're thinking like Alter. You can delay for 30 seconds. Freelo.
Yeah.
Oh man, this might be busted.
Wow,
this might be busted on like certain maps.
That's an entire team
Towers?
getting back up if they wipe you. Towers, yeah.
It might be honestly more than 5
Knight.
seconds. I don't know.
Team
And they
wipe,
also
but
have to
Ana
recognize it, and they have to
survives?
like re-auto it. And like, no, this is scary good. You got to save it. Like,
I mean, even Alterac Pass, Garden of Terror, like all
so
these
what you're
maps
gonna
have
do,
some
what
sort
you're
of
gonna
cap
have to
mechanic.
do as an enemy team going against an Ana is you're going to have like 2 or 3 people taking all at once. So she has to like hit each one. So that's how you do it. So it's not. There are workarounds, but at minimum, I'm guessing a 15-second delay, which is pretty good, and it's only a 45-second cooldown. So.
and lastly, Jax, before we move away from Ana here, let's talk level 7 new E talent called Night Terrors. And really I want like level 7 on a whole, like you have your anti-healer and it's called anti-healer, or you have your anti-tank in the form of Night Terrors. What are your thoughts on we'll talk about both these talents level 7.
You're taking me away from the ethereal plane where I was happy for a moment, and you're bringing me back down to the depths of my misery. So, if you are going to play Ana after this patch goes live, which I would recommend against because I don't see a place for her where you can just get dove by a Genji super easily, maybe Ihorus becomes God tier and you have to play her for that. But if you do have to play Ana, you are only going to be taking W talents. That's the only set of talents that actually somewhat interact with each other in a meaningful way. So you go W talent at 1, 4, and 7, and it essentially makes your W heal for a lot, and it makes it mitigate heals for a lot, and it where is the level 4? And it heals for even more. Yeah, so that's what you go. You don't go E talents because E talents are bad. You're not going to be using E very much anyways, because it doesn't have Pierce anymore. And Night Terror is like 8% of max health and damage. That's not really that much. It really isn't. If the hero is not woken up early, everybody wakes up the hero, so it's yeah, no. 8% of max health. So let's think best case scenario, Diablo with 10,000 health does 800 damage. It's good, but it's not really viable.
Yeah.
To be honest. Sorry. Have to be like 12% before I'd even start to consider. And then they didn't change any of her 13 and 16 talents. So like those are honestly where Ana's problems are, the 13 and 16 talents, because those increase her heal and supporting abilities. It increases it. It increases her heal amount. Sharpshooter increases her heal amount by 50%. Why is that a talent? You need to just give her 25% back on her base and remove that talent. We've seen on Lucio why talents that increase healers amount late in the game do not work because they are impossible to balance around. So, I don't know why they didn't change those. I don't think they have any idea what they're doing with Ana. And to be honest, this reminds me a lot of the Tyrande changes where they made her quest baseline. And I know they're not making quest baseline, but they're doing a change because they didn't like how she was played before. And I don't think this is going to work at all. And I think they're going to be going back on this. If they are around in like a year, they're going to be going back on this again. She's going to get another rework. Calling it right now.
Okay. So let's move ahead. Yep. We got some cool stuff that's come out over the past couple of weeks and has finally been revealed also on this PTR patch. Some brand new skins for some heroes that haven't had too many in a while. Deckard Cain, Blaze, and Hanzo. Have you guys gotten a peek at these? They look amazing.
Oh, they're so cool.
They do look
they're
amazing.
So cool.
I don't know what this is being called, like the theme of them, like the resistance fighters. I don't know what it is, but they look amazing. Oh, and the mount Derpa is incredible.
The Derpa.
Actually, the first time I looked at the what I now know to be Deckard Cain, I thought maybe it was like Rexar with Misha behind him, which would have been really cool too. But then, so obviously, it was like, yeah, that's Deckard Cain.
I mean, there's nothing more to say than like these are all really cool skins.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
very excited.
Yeah, this is like the Viper event, but like even better, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Rambo.
Yeah. It's awesome stuff.
It's I think they're actually dubbing it Viper. The skins we got with Alarak and Gul'dan or was it Stukov rather, and Genji. Now up against these three as the Resistance. So Viper versus Resistance is kind of what they're trying to do.
Lauren Hots 2019.
Yeah.
Lols. I'm sorry. It's the last of the salt. We're gonna get into the really positive stuff now. Who wants to take us down?
Big.
You do it, Murda. You do it.
I
got
Murda.
All right, guys. We got some big, exciting news. If you guys have not already heard about it, this is, I mean, for the podcast, this is the biggest news we've had all year so far in 2019. So grab a seat, glass of water. Jax is pregnant.
It was an announcement that we wanted to keep for a while because we weren't certain that it was going to work, but it is going to. I am going to be a mother.
No, seriously though, guys, if you didn't hear, Nexus Gaming Series is partnering up with Heroes Lounge to help run the Division S entire show for North America. So we're really excited, the NGS crew and everyone, and we get to work with Ghostdunk over with the Heroes Lounge staff. I think this is an amazing partnership here between these two orgs.
How excited were you, Ghost, when you found out?
I actually was. They actually came and talked to me about working with Heroes Lounge. They wanted to know like how all about sort of Heroes Lounge, and I was able to give them like how Heroes Lounge worked and stuff like that. So I'm glad they made a decision to work with it because I think that
we were too. We really wanted to. All jokes aside, we really wanted to make sure that Division S is the best that it possibly can be. And in the aftermath of everything that happened, the clear view that the community had is that we need to band together now more than ever to make sure that we can keep this game going because that's what we love. We love to play this game, throughout whatever Blizzard does. That is what unites us as a community. And so we felt like it was our obligation as NGS to do whatever we can to make sure that the league, that the competitive scene survives. If that means that maybe some North American teams prefer to play on Division S instead of in NGS, like so be it. If that makes a more robust tournament, like we would rather have that happen. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I said last podcast, I really want everybody to work together, and it's happening. So I'm excited. And really, if we're talking about Amateur Heroes of the Storm, breaking news I've just seen, McIntyre post on Twitter, their team for the Gladman Toasty Invitational is McIntyre, BBJ, Crowan, Ishbu, and Dreadnought.
Oh!
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's happening, boys.
That's incredible. Yes.
It just came across my wire now, so Wade Penfold himself will be stepping away from the casting back into being a player for the first time in years.
Wait, is BBJ not playing?
No, BBJ's playing.
He went back to
BBJ, Crowan, Ishbu, Mac, and Dreadnought.
Oh, so he's replacing what Hami was doing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because Dread was always a support player.
Well, yeah, who knows? But McIntyre says he's coming back only because he can ancestral heal himself again.
Oh my god. Well, Mac can play some Chen too, so
yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I'm very happy to see this go through.
Well, guys, it looks like we've made it through another episode of Nexus Now. Any last thoughts before we move away from episode 11 here?
I'm just excited about the amateur scene. Div S is a lot of fun. I'm playing in it, in the qualifiers at least, and that's been a really a good time. I've met a lot of people doing that. I'm really excited about how the teams are going. Of course, the pros come in. They haven't practiced at all, but they're still stomping everybody. But I think everybody is still having a good time, and it's really working out. I'm very excited to see NGS in it. I think I can't wait for season 6 to come out, and just everybody else out there who's keeping the spirit of the game alive. The 5 men on comms, or 5 women, or 5 non-binary, whatever, on comms, all working together to play the game. That's the way the game should be played. So there you go.
Absolutely. It's going to be really exciting. I think over the next few months, whatever news comes out of Blizzard, and I'm sure we're going to be getting upset about it, like with the Anna stuff. We're probably going to rage. We're going to be upset. I mean, 75-minute queues. But I think just the sheer amount of joy that I'm seeing out of Div S and NGS and all the other amateur leagues is enough to keep me going for at least another 10 episodes. Wouldn't you guys say?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely. More than 10. More than 10.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I do want to remind you guys at home, if you want to support this podcast and Nexus Gaming Series in general, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/Heroes Nexus Gaming Series. And if you haven't taken a look recently, it's been revamped by our Patreon team over on the NGS staff. They took a look at all the rewards, reworked them for season 6. So if you're coming back to NGS and you're playing and you want to support what we have going on here, consider heading on over to Patreon and check out those new tiers. Ghost, I know you've been a patron in the past, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'm more than happy to support the cause.
Yeah.
I also want to remind everyone there are Nexus Gaming Series signups going on for Season 6 right now. As of this recording, we have about a week left. So if you're listening to this right after release, get on it if you're not already registered. If not, sadly, you will miss out on Season 6, and we don't want to see that happen. Yep. So head on over to nexusgamingseries.org to begin your registration and team recruitment process.
Awesome. And let me
but that's it.
Yeah. Let me try on my announcer voice once again and see if I can get everybody's shout outs going. All right, Jaxster, tell us, where can we find you on the World Wide Web?
Sorry, I'm just kind of speechless. You can reach me at twitter.com/Jaxster37. You can also DM me on Discord if you have any questions about the upcoming season, or if you're interested in maybe being a part of the content creation team. We're always looking for more people, so send over your details and we can schedule an interview if you want to be a part of that. Apart from that, I'm not really streaming right now because the team and we're still going to compete in NGS Season 6, but we're probably going to be taking a step back in terms of practice hours. So,
all right, thank you very much. And Murda, where can we find you? Where can the lovely ladies and gentlemen listening see you on the internet?
All right, find me on Twitter at MurdaRG, over on Twitch, twitch.tv/MurdaRG, where I'll be casting some Division S qualifiers. Of course, I'll be casting NGS Season 6. Absolutely thrilled for all of that. I also want to make a special announcement. The regen meme that you guys keep throwing with these color splashes and regen chartreuse and turquoise and all these other colors. We got a new regen team. It's not a color. It's called Regen Retro. It has a kind of 80s old school cyberpunk theme to it. Really excited. An old friend who is actually a former member of the original Regen is coming back into the org and going to captain one of our teams. So I'm really excited for that.
All right. Thank you very much. And Ghost, where can we find you? Where can your fans reach out to you at? Well, thanks, Bill. You can get me at twitch.tv/Ghostdunk, where I'll be casting Heroes Lounge. I'll be casting maybe Div S, I don't know, but I'll be working there. I'll be casting NGS for sure. I'll maybe streaming some other stuff, some other games, maybe some HOTS. I've been known to stream practices from time to time, and you can find me on Twitter at IlluminatedWax. And I think that's it. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thanks for joining us. And to Smithel, who I'm sure you're listening, buddy. I'll make love to you like you want me
Not safe for work, guys.
Died.